Greetings, people of Earth. I'm Rick Harold. Thanks for watching my video and listening to my podcast. Today I talk about natural language processing and its effect on the Filmic Pro camera app. I picked the Filmic Pro camera app because it's a camera app that I use, and I wanted to kind of illustrate some of the major implications that valid or good natural language processing will be able to do in terms of eliminating user interface. Now, I have nothing against user interface. I've created many of them, and I use them all over the place. But they're really a user interface, and what I mean by that is the menus and buttons and things like this. They're a crutch because I have to be able to interact with this camera app, in this particular case, to get the ISO setting right, the shutter speed, the focus, to have the frame rate, all this stuff that you do with a camera app. And I don't do anything specifically wild with this, but if I was a filmmaker and I wanted to make cool videos, and this applies to not just iPhone, really even regular DSLRs, I'd have to deal with all these settings. And believe me, there's a lot more in there that I understand. I'm not a filmmaker, camera person, so I'm just talking about a few of the settings. So when you look at the camera app, this camera app is actually really good. I've compared it against other ones. I looked at various reviews. So you can see here there's a lot of settings, and it's standard menu based. You press on the settings thing, up comes some grid in this particular case, and you can see choices and you choose them. So it's not complicated. It's actually laid out well. They have focus wheels that are put on the left and right depending upon what you're doing. And these camera apps can also integrate with gimbals where you're walking around and the gimbal keeps the camera steady so it doesn't catch your feet bouncing kind of thing when you're moving, or if you're panning or something like that, it can do it smoothly. But in reality, these settings, I should be able to just say to the camera app, I want 2K resolution. Set the frame rate at 30 frames a second. Change the ISO to 400. Etc. And I don't want to get into all the settings, but you get the idea. Maybe there's a microphone button. I tap on it. I say what I want. Obviously, for any of these things, and this is true for natural language processing, there's many different ways of saying it. Anybody who does any development for Amazon Echo or Google Home knows that you kind of define these various permutations you expect someone might say a particular function, like say set the ISO. And then it can also ask questions so that, let's say there were multiple settings to the ISO, I could say set the ISO 400, and then the phone, in this case the camera app, would say, okay, do you want the shutter speed changed? Because blah, 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 it should be set to this. And then I would have an interactive discussion with the camera app. So this is artificial intelligence, right? It's fairly straightforward and simplistic. The transcription is available for phones via many services. And in terms of using the device, let's say the Filmic Pro had this, and I'm not saying you have to eliminate the UI to it, but I wouldn't care about the UI anymore. I would just say, this is what I want the settings to be, or maybe I could even ask which settings are available in this scenario, and it would tell me, because different phones have different abilities, and then I could choose one. And then I do my filming, and then I stop. Now, that's not to say you can't have trackable focus. I know that's filmmakers wants to do kind of things like that. But for people, I wouldn't have to go watch YouTube videos to figure out how to use this app or other aspects about the app. In this case, the app's actually not that complicated, but some of these filming apps are. I wouldn't need the manuals for it. I wouldn't need the explanations for it. I would get immediate feedback because it'd be awesome, right? I'd be really happy as a customer because I'm like, wow, I get this app, I just start working, it's doing exactly what I want. I don't have to search for this very cleverly hidden menu. Not hidden, cleverly designed because there's only so much space on a screen and you don't want to take up the screen with a bunch of menus. I would bypass all that. This would mean that so many more people that want to do, in this case, a filming, could use this app without having to think about it. So this app, and I'll do other examples of other programs. It's just a small example of a revolution with natural language processing on a very micro scale that will change in terms of what people are able to do and how everybody, and get my poster will be able to be involved in using technology that they could never have imagined using because it's just too complicated from a user interface point of view. So that's it. I really like the Filmic Pro app, don't get me wrong. I'm using it right now, and it does everything I want. I actually think it's pretty good. So, but I think the natural language processing thing would be super awesome. So that's it. All right, thanks again. Take it easy.